It's time for the National League. We are going to preview the Futures Game roster on the National League side here on the call up. You've got Aram Layton, Jack McMullen. National League a little bit more loaded or American League? Early takeaway.
National League more loaded.
I agree. I agree.
That's my feel.
Which is and yesterday was fun. I mean, a lot of fun players to talk about. But I do agree with you. I think we got a bit more star power. And I think a little bit more I think would say more fresh faces on the National League side to a degree. So very excited about that. We're going to break it down, position by position group and tell you what you should look for and should be excited about, and maybe give you just a little bit of an update of what they've been doing this year to get here, because sometimes, as we've seen, some players that we haven't even talked about yet on the show this year.
I know, man. It's exciting stuff. Should we just jump right in with the pitchers?
Let's do it.
I love it. All right. National League pitchers. Let's start with a reliever. Marquise Grissom Jr. is going to the Futures Game. He is a Washington National. I was clamoring for Grissom to get a shot in the big leagues at the end of last year. He still hasn't gotten his shot in the big leagues. He's about to turn 24 years old in the middle of July. I think he actually turns 24 during the Futures Game, or at least during All-Star Weekend. It's on July 19th, his birthday. But Marquise Grissom Jr. last year, between high A and double A for the most part, 53 innings at a 2.2 ERA. This year been a little bit different, really struggling control-wise. 30 and two-thirds innings. He's walked 20, and he's got a 4.7 ERA. But this is one of the weirdest and best changeups in minor league baseball.
Yeah, it still is. Opponents are hitting 160 against it this year, 39% in zone whiff rate against it. It clearly just looks like his fastball out of the hand and then just dives right away. Hitters have really struggled to pick it up, and it's a dominant pitch, and it has been throughout his professional career. The challenge is he doesn't really have much else off of that, so it's very changeup dependent. And I think you're maybe hoping he can be maybe a Tommy Kahnle type, where he can just manipulate it, throw it a ton, have it depthier, harder, everything in between, and go from there. But it'll be fun to watch him throw in some changeups.
100%. We're really off to a rip-roaring start when I tell you the National League roster is better than the American League roster, because the next guy we had to talk about is 26 years old on the Atlanta Braves. Hayden Harris has been in AAA Gwinnett for a minute. Hayden Harris is a guy that has been around for a long time. He played 4 years of college baseball, 5 years of college baseball at Georgia Southern. Harris was a non-drafted free agent in 2022. Last year, 41 appearances out of the bullpen in double and triple A at a 4.6 ERA. This year, been different. Started the year repeating double A with Columbus, the Clingstones. 22 and two-thirds innings, 11 hits, and a 0.79 ERA. Punched out 37 and walked 7. So far in Gwinnett, 6 appearances spanning 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs. He has walked 6, but he's worked around that. So on the year, in 29 and two-thirds innings between double and triple A, he's allowed 14 hits, punched out 44, walked 13, and has a 0.61 ERA. This is a breakout, and this is trade bait 101 in the Futures Game.
That or throw him in the bullpen. I don't know.
Sure.
But you'd think that if that was the plan, he probably wouldn't be at the Futures Game just yet. Very unique release characteristics. I would say we talk about the XY axis situation, like, and where a player would land on the scatter plot. I think if you did XY axis of vertical release height and extension, I think you would have Hayden Harris in his own area. It's a 4.6 release height. Think about that. That's a foot and 3 inches lower, 1.3 feet actually, lower than the league average release height. And then he's getting 7.1 feet of extension.
Dude.
How do you release that low and work that far forward from the left side? I don't know. He makes it work. And I think it's a big reason why his fastball has been dominating at 92 miles per hour. Opponents are hitting just 167 against it. And then working off of that, he's got a splitter, which is interesting. How do you throw a splitter from there? And a slider as well. Those pitches are okay. It really is fastball dependent here, but it's so weird that I think it can work. So I'm just excited to see him throw. I'm going to try to get behind home plate, see what it looks like from there. But 4.6 release with 7.1 feet of extension is very bizarre in a good way.
So I'm looking at Kyle Harrison, like the specs on that. Release height for Kyle Harrison's typically around 4'10", right? 4'10", 4'11", and then he gets about 6.5 feet of extension. So he's somehow lower than Kyle Harrison, and he's extending more. And it's an overhand delivery. It's not a sidearm delivery.
No, it's pretty sidearm. It's
Okay.
but still, like, how do you get there?
I have no idea.
So
That's
it's fun.
that's actually pretty crazy. So hey, you know what? Good for Hayden Harris. Now we get to why this game is a little bit more loaded on the National League side. Andrew Painter of the Philadelphia Phillies is going to the Futures Game. Painter, 6'7", 215. This guy is settling in at the AAA level right now. It seems like we're in the slow gear up for possible September innings in the big leagues for Painter, and he's going to throw an inning and showcase the otherworldly stuff in Atlanta for the Futures Game.
Yeah, he's still trying to fully hit his stride there. They've been careful with him in terms of, I mean, you've seen the pitch count start to pick up a little bit, but they're not going to push him too far past the five up downs. But I think in general this year, would like to see him be a bit more efficient. He's coming off a TJ, yeah, so it goes. But the overall strike rate's been good. It's been mostly just trying to put guys away more consistently. I think in one inning, it's going to be a lot easier to do that. He's
Yeah.
averaged 97 on the fastball this year. So I'm excited to see him just dial it up, probably touch triple digits. You've got the assortment of secondaries that are all fun. But I think you look at that breaking ball, that big depth here breaking ball as the one that's probably most exciting to see. And the changeup. I hope he throws it at least once or twice. I'd love to see it. But in one inning, this guy's going to be overwhelming. It'll be fun to watch.
Where are you at on this guy? J.R. Ritchie of the Atlanta Braves is the next guy that we're going to be talking about. Ritchie was a first round pick. He was taken, 35th overall in 2022 at a high school by Atlanta. And Ritchie in 2022 made 5 shorter starts, really good. In 23, limited injury. In 24, limited, came back, was really good. And then in 25 so far this year, he's already thrown 75 minor league innings at a 2.5 ERA, and he's climbed to double A. Obviously, they pushed Didier Fuentes through big time. Owen Murphy was the big name before he went down, and he's out for the entirety of the season. Richie, is this a legit breakout?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
it is. And do you remember when we were talking about him off the TJ? I'm like, I can't figure out when you look at just the TrackMan data, how is this guy getting the whiffs that he is, and how is he just as effective as he is? And unfortunately, not you're not going to get that answer probably in a futures game setting. But something maybe specifically to watch because you could if you're locked in on it. He might be one of the best at executing in the minor leagues right now, where it's an arsenal that, and we've talked about how the Braves are really good at helping their guys like play angles and all that good stuff. But it's a deep bag of pitches. He's got the fastball, the changeup, the slider, sinker, curveball, sweeper. But what I've really noticed when I'm watching him throw is you've got the slider down to the glove side that he executes consistently. Then you've got the changeup down to the arm side that he executes consistently. Then you've got the four seamer up and to the glove side that he hits the spots really well. And then the sinker in versus righties. So he's got this ability to go all four quadrants, execute consistently. And that's why, despite not having a clear plus pitch, he's racking up a 32% chase rate, slightly above average whiff rates, and above average ground ball rates. So he screams back end of the rotation starter, and a good one at that. I think this is a good arm for the Braves, but maybe not the futures game type of archetype, but watch this guy execute for an inning.
There's a reason Colin Ray is still around in his mid 30s right now. Like, why can't he be a Colin Ray type? There are a lot of teams that would sign up for Colin Ray right now. So
Yep.
that's the name that jumps out to me where it's like, hey, this stuff is not overwhelmingly awesome, but at the end of the day, if you execute, you're going to get stuff done. Next guy we got to talk about, buzziest name on the pitching front right now. Every time I see a Travis Sikora video with the Washington Nationals, I'm dialed the hell in. And I know you are too. Sikora's up to double A. He's making mincemeat at that level as well. What you got on Sikora?
A 370 opponent OPS.
Yeah, nice.
He was just on our collectibles podcast, the Sports Card CEO. I know he's a big card collector as well, and so definitely check that out. Our guys are doing a great job over there. We'll be doing some fun stuff at All Star Week as well, just around the hobby and things like that. I think they're going to have the top CEO, Mike Mahan, on there to talk about some things. So that'll be really cool. But
It's
Sikora was
awesome.
on there talking about the hobby and things through his perspective. And I was thinking about it too. We were texting about how the pitching market is back, baby. Like
Hmm.
pitcher cards are going for some money now. And I was like, man, I might need to buy some Travis Sikora cards. As I thought that he walked 5 last time out.
Good.
But besides that, he has been just fantastic. And it was that we've seen it so often. It's that double A adjustment. And you get there a little bit rocky that first outing. But other than that, I mean, we're talking about 3 potential plus pitches here. The fastball is 96 on average with decent characteristics and some deception to the release. The slider is disgusting, and opponents are hitting 125 against that. And then you could argue that the splitter is his best pitch. He doesn't throw it as much, only 16% usage. So I think in terms of run value, it would probably still skew towards that slider. But opponents are 2 for 23 against his splitter with a 28% swinging strike rate. So you're just going to see 3 nasty offerings and a guy that at 21 years old is overwhelming hitters at the minor league level.
It's been amazing to watch. Don't look at it if you're not looking at it already. Over the course of the entirety of his minor league career, what do you think opponents are hitting?
Oh, well, factoring in the 123 this year,
Yeah.
that's all I have in front of me. It had to be better last year. 170.
So opponents hit 168 against him last year in 20 starts, and he's gotten better from there. Like 168 against him in 85 innings, and this year in 44 innings, 123 against him. So in
What's the
his
slug?
career, 31 starts, 129 innings, this guy has a 153 batting average against over the course of his minor league career.
What's the?
153.
Do you have the slug in front of you?
I don't. All I
Let
have
me
is
let me
batting
try to
average
find the slug
against.
because I'm curious. No home runs this year, so it's a 151 slug
Two
this year.
two homers last year. I would be curious to know.
248 248 slug last year, dude.
Let me pull this up. Okay, 493 hitters he's faced. 493. 2 homers hit against him.
Yeah,
493.
yeah,
2 homers.
yeah. It's nasty. That's nasty. By the way, 46% K rate this year.
That's a joke. All right. Next guy we got to talk about. Less sexy than Sakura, but pretty darn sexy. Jonah Tong of the New York Mets. Tong has put together some of the more video game starts that we have seen in the minor leagues to this point. He took a perfect game into the 7th inning, I want to say, in a condensed game. One of those 7 inning doubleheader
He was
type
one out
deals.
away, right?
He was 1 out away from, I think, a perfect game. It was either a perfect game or a no hitter. But Tong, I mean, he has put together some ludicrous outings this year. It's Vert. If you like Vert, if you like looking at the TrackMan data as the game goes on, you're in luck because the Futures game is going to have StatCast, and you're going to see some stupid numbers from Jonah
Oh,
Tong.
oh yeah, especially in a 1 inning spurt. It was a perfect game. It was 6 2/3 perfect, 13 Ks, but he was at 99 pitches, so had to bang that there. This is a one. The delivery is so fun. It gives you shades of Lincecum. You're getting 20 inches of vert at 95. But I think what people are going to realize, because when he was a amateur prospect and in the early going of his pro career, was like, oh, that 12-6 curveball from that over the top release, and he still has that. But his best pitch is a changeup that I think has been one of the best performing changeups in minor league baseball this year. Opponents are 6 for 62. It's an 097 batting average against the pitch. He's throwing 24% of the time. It is dominant. Another one that when you look at the in zone whiff rate, which is 47%, that tells me it looks like the four seamer right out of the hand. And a guy that had some command questions and still does to a degree, 68% strike rate on the changeup. He's actually got to find the spin more consistently to
Hmm.
land that. And the fastball even could be a little bit more consistent. But the four seam changeup combination is gnarly, and it's going to be fun to watch.
How much more do you feel like this guy needs in terms of spin? Like a four-seam changeup combination can get him through 6 innings in the major leagues.
I think especially that four seamer. I just think enough that hitters have to respect it or think
Sure.
about it, right? And right now you're looking at it at about a 49.5% strike rate across his curveball, slider, cutter. I'm not even thinking about it then. Yeah, I'm thinking four seamer at the top, and I'm trying to get to that, and that's what he's throwing 60% of the time. I think in a perfect world, you have those breaking balls you trust a little bit more. You up the usage a little bit more. You cut the fastball usage down to 50%, and hitters at least have to respect that spin just a little bit. Because right now, if I was going up there against him, if he locates three breaking balls, I will walk back to the dugout with a smile on my face
Sure.
because if you're not geared up for fastball and maybe just trying to adjust a changeup, you have no shot anyways. So that's the last piece I think for him to succeed at the big league level. But right now, and to your point, like I even think at the big league level, he could five and dive that fastball changeup and be disgusting. And
Yeah.
last thing I'll mention on him, just so you know how hot he's coming into this futures game. Last 9 starts at Double A. Oh my gosh. Actually, you know what? Let me extend this. This brought the ERA up by 0.01, but it makes the sample even stronger. Last
Cool.
11 starts at Double A. 1.06 ERA, 59 and two-thirds innings. He's allowed one home run. He has struck out 95, and he has 23 walks. Maybe the most impressive part, 59% ground ball rate paired with a 42% strikeout rate. So you're either going to strike out or you're going to put it on the ground. Opponents are hitting 115 with a 360 OPS in that span.
So the things that make no sense to me are the ground ball rate being that high and the homers being that low with a guy that relies on a four seamer like that.
Yeah, that is actually really weird.
It's
I,
weird, but at the end
I,
of the day,
I
like I
think
can appreciate that.
I think the changeup is going to get you a 75% ground ball rate
Sure.
right there. Or actually 77% ground ball rate.
Oh, nice.
I think that fastball hitters are like trying so hard to get on top of it.
So they end up topping it.
They
Yeah.
end up topping it. And then also, I think it's the fact that he has the guts to throw it at the knees.
And that's where you'll get takes. And it's really fun to watch. If you haven't really appreciated the low carry fastball, like that's maybe the best pitch in baseball where it just freezes dudes at the bottom rail of the strike
Because
zone.
your brain tells you that that's going to drop naturally
It's going
below
to
the
be
zone.
at your shoelaces, and all of a sudden it's at the knees, and see ya.
It's like gravity never happened. Yeah, and I
It's
think that's what he's doing as well, which is just getting guys uncomfortable and rolling over. 49% ground ball rate on one of the most verty fastballs in the minor leagues is insane. I think it says a lot about the improved execution.
Yeah, and tells you that guys are overcorrecting. To your point, a couple more arms we got to talk about. Carson Whisenhunt of the San Francisco Giants. This guy has been hanging out in AAA, and unfortunately, he's not forcing Buster Posey's hand to get him up to the show. This guy's made 41 starts as a Sacramento River Cat. Yeah, River Cat. 193 innings at a 5.02 ERA. Any other level besides that, he's been good over the course of his minor league career. But 24-year-old second round pick in 2022 out of East Carolina, like at some point it's got to click at the AAA level, and I can absolutely see this guy on the move at the deadline if the Giants feel like they need a beating heart in their lineup, and spoiler alert, they do.
Yeah, it's tough because it's you put that guy in the PCL. It's got to be so hard when you're a heavy changeup guy. That changeup is as advertised. It has continued to be and is playing like a 70 grade pitch. But you put a guy with a bad fastball in the PCL,
Yeah.
and it's going to be tough. And he mitigated it early in the year, but it's not like you're facing a ton of new bats every single week in the PCL. Teams adjusted a little bit, and over the last handful of starts, he's gotten roughed up a bit more. It's 92, so it's going to be hard. I do think he's a guy that could get moved, and still, I think in the right environment, screams back into the rotation starter. The irony is, you put him in their home ballpark in San Francisco. I actually think he succeeds because of that. Because his biggest issue, I think, is the long ball and the four seamer. And now you put him in a spot where the long ball can be limited. Changeup is elite. He throws it for a strike 71% of the time, and he's improved the spin a little bit. So I still think he's a good arm. The thing with the futures game and what to look for there is the changeup again. It's a different it's more screwbally, which I think is even more fun. It's like
Yeah.
80 miles an hour with like Tongs is going to be this late fade and it's like, whoa, that's not the fastball. With Wizenhunts, it's going to be like, wow, that is like a screwball. And I think that's fun
Airbender.
to watch
Yeah.
too.
100%, man. Yeah, I would be curious to see what Wizenhunt can do. I'm really excited to see Thomas White throw. Obviously, left-handed pitcher in the Marlins organization. He's their top prospect. Thomas White is going to the Futures game. This guy has started sensationally with Pensacola, 7 2/3 innings, allowing just 1 run so far. He was amazing over his last 5 starts in High A with Beloit, and on the year, 11 starts at a 2.53 ERA. I'm asking Commissioner Manfred to make this happen. I would love to see Thomas White face Tommy White. That would be perfect.
It's a broadcaster nightmare, right?
Yeah,
At
it's
least that
okay.
one's easier. That's a little bit easier. There was like
Yeah.
the one my very short-lived broadcasting career on the Cape. We had a Scara versus a Scara, and that one
Oh,
was
that's
really
tough.
messing with me.
That's
I,
tough. So Syracuse played Old Dominion in basketball, and they had a guy, Ahmad Carver, and then Caver. So it was Carver to Caver that ran like the pick and
I
roll,
remember that actually. I
and it
remember
was
you
like
talking.
Carver, Caver, now back Carver. Like it
Yeah,
was.
see,
I was like, what are we
I'm just
doing?
accepting that I'm messing that up and just that is what it is for the broadcast. But Tommy and Thomas White's a little bit easier. It also helps that they couldn't look more different.
Yeah,
6'5", 210 lank machine in Thomas White.
I've got
Um,
240 on Thomas White.
he's 240 now.
I've got 240 on Baseball Reference, and I'll tell you, I believe it.
Uh,
6'5", 240. This guy, he spent some time at the squat rack this offseason.
what in the was it the second biggest weight room in
One of the biggest weight rooms. Yeah,
yeah.
at the main ballpark in Miami and in Jupiter.
That was my favorite thing that was it just kept it wasn't even just the Marlins just kept getting punched. It's just like second largest weight room or whatever. But no, I mean you can see it with the quality of stuff. And we just had Bill Hiesel on, the Marlins director of pitching. And he talked about with Thomas White when you had asked, like, what have you seen with him this year? And it's trusting his stuff. And I think early in the year you saw him battle some command inconsistencies. Nothing bad, right? It felt like it was 3 walks every night. He made it work, but it was working around 3 walks every night. And I'd just be thinking, okay, well, what if he doesn't? What if he walks one? What if he walks two? Like, how dominant will that be? And we started to see that, and we have really started to see that at the end of the high A stint, and then even now in his last start in Double A, just pure dominance of 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. It's this long lefty arm action that I think is really tough to time up for a hitter. And then this run and ride to the fastball that plays. The breaking ball is dirty, and he's got the curveball and the slider. So he's got these two distinct breaking balls now as well. And then the changeup, I think, is arguably his best pitch. This is a legit impactful 4 pitch mix from a 6'5 lefty. I think Thomas White's one of the best left-handed pitching prospects in baseball.
Where does he stack up right now? Because it's Schultz, White. Who else am I blanking on right now?
I mean, you're thinking of Schultz, White, Hagen Smith, Quinn Matthews, Cam Caminiti, Gage Jump, Hunter Barco,
Ferris.
Ferris. Like with how Hagen Smith is trending right now, I think you could make the case that Thomas White is better than him. He's a year younger still too.
Yeah, give me Thomas White as the best left-handed pitching prospect in
Noah
baseball.
Schultz is struggling in AAA, but he's also a year older as well. Thomas White's younger, so you could make a reasonable case that Thomas White's the best left-handed pitching prospect in baseball.
I'm here for that, and I'm excited to see him throw in the Futures game.
Yep.
Another guy I'm excited to see throw. Jackson Wiggins, the last pitcher that we're
Cool.
going to talk about of the Chicago Cubs. Opponents are hitting 156 against Wiggins so far this year. This is his age 23 season. Limited at Arkansas. He threw 66 innings in his draft year. He did not pitch in 23. In 24, he came out. You saw the potential. In 25, it's really blossoming. So far this year, 60 and a third innings at a 209 ERA. Again, opponents hitting just over 150 against him. And in 60 and a third, it's 74 punchouts. I think a lot of people, as the Cubs look for either frontline starting pitchers or lineup help or bullpen help, actually, are going to be trying to mock Jackson Wiggins to whichever team.
Which is funny because like I was actually going to make the exact comment where I think the Cubs, you'd be thrilled to just move from your surplus of upper minors bats. And if I'm a team, and it's not a knock on the upper minors bats, I love Owen Casey, definitely a guy that I would love to get. But if it's a package extending beyond that, I'm taking Jackson Wiggins over anybody else,
He's
essentially.
number one on my wish list right now. Like, who else are you going to move, right? Ballesteros has limited value because he can't play anywhere defensively, and he's 5'8". Casey is kind of stalling out in AAA right now. I'd say Casey for me is one because of the proximity. Like he
Yeah,
can just,
proximity and just the power prowess. Like you plug him in
yeah,
now and see if he can go hit 30 in the next couple years. Like that, you don't get those opportunities often.
right. Like if I'm pursuing help and I have, a closer or something and the Cubs want a closer, although Palencia, holy shit, dude. Palencia looks the part right now. But if they want an elite setup guy and I have that, I'm asking for Casey first, probably because he's plug and play in the major leagues. And after that, I'm asking for Wiggins, and I would understand if the Cubs are entirely dismissive to Wiggins conversations right now.
Yeah, and I think if you're a believer in, or you just really need a bat, period. You can make the case for Ballesteros just ahead because the bat is so damn good. But I think a lot of teams, to your point, would be lining up for the opportunity to add a 6'7" righty who
Yeah.
is putting it all together off of TJ. This is really his first full like run free year here off of the TJ. He was just working back last year. We picked him as a breakout prospect for a reason. I mean, he finished the year really strong. The fastball is averaging 97, touching triple digits. He's throwing more strikes than ever. And he's got two secondaries that you got to really respect. And the fact that this changeup has come along for him, he's got to throw it more, and I hope he does. But for a 6'7" flame throwing righty that had command questions, to have a feel for a changeup all of a sudden is very encouraging. And that slider is a wipeout pitch. So you got a 3-pitch mix here. You got high octane stuff, and you got a 6'7" righty. Sign me up. I think the Cubs, given the way their farm system is, they're probably going to be hanging on for dear life. But you get an opportunity to get a franchise altering player. They're all in right now, obviously, especially with the Tucker situation. I think he might be one of the most coveted prospects at the deadline
I
based
could
on where
see
he's
that.
at because you let him finish the year here, and then you go into next year, he might pitch his way into untouchable territory. So it's
Of
not
course.
often that you get an opportunity to acquire an arm of this caliber.
And he might pitch his way to the big leagues by the beginning of next year. I
Yep.
mean, the way he's trending right now, dude, like he's shoving in double A. So we'll see what happens. And he's 23 years old. We're going to get to the hitters. But before that, I think you have something about our friends at Loop.
Yes, I actually just bought into a break on Loop with our friends at Hit Seekers, one of the great breakers on the platform, which on the Loop app, you can feel comfortable that you are going to have a safe and easy experience of actually being able to get your cards in the mail. You don't have to worry about any sketchy breakers or anything like that. What you see and what you buy is ultimately what you get. And I actually bought in on some 2024 Bowman draft. As you know, I absolutely love that draft class. And I pulled a Chase Burns. So Chase Burns auto out of 250. I was very pumped on that. I'm like, okay, I can't wait for this thing to get here. Already got here, by the way, too. It took like 3 days to get
Hmm.
here. That part was really fun, but also just the interactive aspect of it as well, where you can go on this app and to just be able to buy sports cards, whether you want to buy individuals, they have that on the marketplace as well. But also, if you want to buy into a break, jump in there. Everybody that is breaking on that platform is so nice. We already know the people at Hit Seekers personally, of course, and we're going to be doing a live break with them at the National in a few weeks here, where I'll be on there answering your questions and we'll be opening some product. But just being able to let them know, like, hey, I'm really hoping to pull a Chase Burns or a Nick Kurtz or a couple of these guys and let them know what I'm targeting. We have some fun. They ask me, what you like about it. We talk about it. And it becomes this really fun, interactive experience with either the audience, other people that are buying into the breaks in that chat, or the breakers themselves. And beyond that, it really built on that trust side of things where you know that Loop is partnering with real, vetted card shops or breakers who are doing serious volume and meet the high quality standards. And I think that part of it is really fun because sometimes I'm gonna make some big purchases. I love the hobby. Like I try to. And what's nice is you go into the card shops there and you go into one of the live breakers. You can buy a pack for $10, but you can also buy a full 2024 Bowman draft box for 500 if you wanted to. So that part of it is fun as well. But you want to have the confidence and trust that you're actually going to get what you are buying, especially if a really nice card gets pulled, that it's actually going to show up to your doorstep. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting into the hobby, I think Loop's environment is really fun, welcoming, and exciting for you. And the best part is if you go to loop.cards slash just base or J baseball, excuse me, that's
Yes.
LOUPE.cards slash J baseball. Loop is giving you $10 on your first purchase over 50. So you get $10 in credit on your first purchase over $50 if you go to loop.cards, LOUPE.cards/JBaseball. That link is also in our description. Definitely let me know what you end up buying there. You can also use that free $10 credit to go buy an individual single on their marketplace, like a single card, or you could go buy, put that towards a pack or a break spot or whatever it may be.
I love it, man. All right. I would be hunting one of these catchers, I think, but not this guy, unfortunately. Duno, King Duno, Alfredo Duno of the Cincinnati Reds is one of the three catchers going to the Futures game on the National League side. Alfredo Duno has been hitting the living crap out of the ball right now. 19-year-old from Venezuela is in low A. He's a Daytona Tortuga at the moment. He's repeating right now. Last year was limited to just 32 games in low A. Was really good, got hurt. This year, he's walking. He's got a 419 OBP. He already has 7 homers and 17 doubles in 65 games and an 873 OPS.
The power's legit. And this is a player though that, we talked about him in the Reds top prospect breakdown. I don't love the swing, but he's 19 and he's a gargantuan human. So patience is a virtue. And at the same time, may not love the swing mechanics. This is a big catcher who's still getting good, powerful swings off and slugging in an area where it's not easy to slug in that Florida State League. So I think there's a lot to be encouraged by if you're a Reds fan. And I think he's a little polarizing in the industry right now, where you have some that are very high on him. They see him as a guy that could stick at catcher. I think that the defense has come along there. If he can stick and play a good catcher, then all of a sudden the whiff matters a lot less, right? Because you've got a guy with a 90th percentile of 106 miles per hour, a hard hit rate of nearly 50%. And I think the most encouraging thing about him is his approach. He only chases 15% of the time. But we're talking about a guy that maybe not a lot of people are familiar with that has an opportunity here to hit that tape measure shot in this game that I think would be really fun. He's already popped EVs north of 111 for a 19-year-old who doesn't turn 20 until January. That's exciting power potential.
No doubt, man. Another guy with pretty exciting power potential. Joe Mack of the Miami Marlins, 22-year-old. Mack is really hitting his stride in Jacksonville right now. 64 games on the year. He's got an 808 OPS. And my guy, King Kornberg, Scott Kornberg tweeted out this number yesterday. Scott said about Joe Mack over his last 6 games, he's 16 for 29. He's slashing 552, 567, 1138. That's a 1705 OPS. Over his last 6 games, he's got 5 homers. I don't know if you saw the homers that he hit in Charlotte last night on Tuesday night.
I was actually going to bring it up.
Dude, that right field homer, that pull side bomb that he hit was a no-doubter. That's a beautiful swing from him.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's funny. I was almost, even though it was a fastball down the middle, I was almost just more impressed in a way by the fastball down the middle that he hit out to left center because he got beat. Like he was late, and it happens, right? We see guys foul pitches off all the time, or flares out, or just deep fly ball, and it's like, oh, he just missed that. He got beat on this fastball in the 9th inning, and it still got out. And I'm like, this guy he backspins baseballs. But that pull side one was 110, just rocket straight to that porch, that home run porch over there, right over it. But 5 homers in his last 5 games. It was funny because he struggled a little bit to get acclimated to AAA. And we talked about it. We thought that would be the case, right? Because this is a guy that is a catcher you have the responsibilities that come along with now handling. It's different when you go from AA to AAA because these are guys that have dealt with big league catchers. There's the expectation is higher. I think that the things that you're supposed to do, I think, are a little bit more expected than suggested on the catching front. But also, his challenges were whiffs on secondary pitches, and you knew that he was going to start to see more and more and more of that, and he has. But just seeing the adjustment that he has made, and even extrapolating beyond this torrid 5-game stretch. He's hitting 333 over his last 15 games. He's cut the strikeout rate down significantly. I do want to see him continue to cut the chase rate back down because we'd seen him do that at AA. But I think that'll come. The power combination with the elite defense is so exciting. And he was the only guy in the minor leagues yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that had 4 hits. Really light offensive day. But I'm almost positive he was the only guy in the minor leagues on Tuesday night with 4 hits. So,
amazing.
or at least 4 hits and a home run, excuse me. We had 3 guys with Four guys with four hits, excuse me. But still, only four guys with four hits is kind of nuts.
Who were the other guys? Do we know them?
Yeah, I'm looking right now. We had Yorman Licour in
No.
at the complex.
Okay.
We had Patrick Clohisi in high A.
No.
Never heard of him either. Gavin Cross,
I've heard of him.
and that is it.
Joe
And
Mack.
Joe
There
Mack.
we go.
Have a day, Joe Mack.
Sure. Have a day, Gavin Cross. Next guy. If you're not in on Eduardo Tait by now, what are you doing? Philadelphia Phillies catcher. I love this kid. 18-year-old from Panama. 10 homers already in 66 games in low A right now. He's not really punching out. He's got 57 punch outs in 66 games and a 770 OPS. He's 3 years younger than the league average hitter in low A at the moment, and he's a catcher. I'm all in on what
Oh,
Tait's doing, and this is the guy that I'd be hunting if I were a card addict.
how is he still 18? Like, yeah,
He turns 19 in what, 2 months? He turns
yeah,
19 on August 27th. He's 18 for pretty much the whole year.
it is elite bat speed. Elite bat speed. It's a blur. Watching him and especially that pull side juice. 18 years old, he's already hit a home run 114 miles per hour this year.
Dude.
I mean, it's special stuff. The defense and stuff needs to come along a little bit more. He's 18. He's aggressive. He's 18. But the bat speed and the game power that he's already getting into, and the fact that, to your point, he is not striking out despite being pretty aggressive. This is huge upside as a power hitting catcher, and I'm really excited about what he could potentially bring to the table. But definitely a player that I think a lot of people are going to just be impressed by the sheer bat speed if we get an opportunity to see him put it on display. By the
Yeah.
way, we talked about Carter Jensen yesterday and his slow start to AAA. What was it, like 1 for 21 or
One
whatever?
for 22 with 10 Ks.
He homered twice yesterday.
Nice.
So shout out
Good.
Carter Jensen
It's
too.
almost like good players get out of slumps. It's
Yeah,
funny.
right.
Oh, well. All right, let's jump to the infielders here. Colorado Rocky, Charlie Condon is starting to hit his stride after missing the first couple of weeks of the season with injury. Condon is in high A right now. I'd assume he's not there for long, but this guy, he's starting to look like the guy that Colorado took at number 3 overall.
I'm pretty sure he actually just got promoted. He'll make his Double A debut today.
There we
Um,
go. Go Goats.
Yeah. So I'm really happy for Condon. Obviously, rough start. I still think some things he's going to need to iron out. But it feels a lot more. I don't know. The panic meter, I think, is across the industry is just calmed down pretty significantly. Just knowing that, hey, okay, he's doing what he should be doing against high A competition, and I mean, really a hot finish to earn that Double A promotion. But I do wonder, how much that swing and miss creeps back in on secondaries and stuff like that. But Condon deserves to be at this futures game. He obviously is a big name, and I think it's got to feel good for him to just after kind of the tough finish last year, the injury to start this year, to have the success that he's having, get to that futures game where he belongs, and potentially show off some of his big time pull side power. But what's interesting is he's actually been productive without fully getting into that game power just yet, which is, I think, an encouraging thing. I want to see him use the field a little bit more because we were seeing him in college really sell out for that pull side pop. The one thing I will mention with him, though, it's still the same conversation that we were having in college, but at least he's back to doing what he does well because he wasn't even doing that as much last year at the end. Against fastballs this year, 420, 535, 609. That's an 1144 OPS. So he's back to crushing fastballs, and that's encouraging. That said, against everything else, it's a 600 OPS, but you can make a living off of that, crushing fastballs and hangers, especially out there in Colorado. So I'm glad to just see him getting back to his strengths, and hopefully he catches one and hits in a mile.
How about that? This is the best thing on the minor league baseball calendar by a country mile because Charlie Condon is going to share an infield with Leo DeVries of the San Diego Padres. DeVries, the same level as Condon until right now, but Leo, he's cooled off a little bit after a really hot start. But at the end of the day, it's a 750 OPS in high A, and he's 4 years younger than the league average hitter there.
Yeah, I mean he's even younger than Tait, which is just absurd. He's only striking out 20% of the time. He's walking 14% of the time. As an 18-year-old at the Double A level, it's just ridiculous stuff there. So I'm just always excited to get a chance to see him in person because He just has that it factor to him, and it may not that may not mean much. It's not something I would ever say if I was working in a front office or anything. Like, oh, he's got the it factor. But in terms of just a fanfare and watching, when you gravitate towards him. He has this moxie in the way that he plays that I think is a blast. And those are the guys that you love to see in these games. He's starting to pick back up a little bit. He had a 4 walk day the other day. Like, just what 18-year-old is walking 4 times in a ball game in high A? You just don't see that. And I know no one's going to the Futures game to watch this guy walk, and I don't think he's going to go there to walk. But it's just kind of a separate point. He has 2 4-walk games already this year. But
Wow.
he's starting to hit the ball really hard. And then we're starting to see him get into the power a little bit more. And what I love is it's in the air consistently, 36% ground ball rate. And you're seeing both sides of the plate start to even out a little bit more too in terms of his offensive production. He's a wonderkin. Like, he really is. That word gets thrown out too much. He really is.
No doubt. Another teenager who is in high A at the moment, Connor Griffin, is looking like that future number one prospect in baseball. Obviously, you highlighted him. Go check out that video. Can we link it in the episode description?
Yes, we can on our Just Baseball originals. I've been really pumped to see that channel picking up. I'm working on a Cal Raleigh one right now as well. Of course, he
Nice.
struck out 4 times yesterday as I'm working
That's
on
okay.
that, but he's already done that 3 times this year. It doesn't matter. Check out the Just Baseball originals channel. That's linked in the episode description. It's like 5 to 8 minute breakdown videos, stuff like that on just the dives that we're doing. And this one was why Connor Griffin could be the number one prospect in baseball before long.
He's looking at it. He's looking like it right now. Connor Griffin. It was funny watching him play like his second high A game in center field. He made a ridiculous catch on the track in center. He's a freak athlete. He might be the best athlete in minor league baseball.
I think if you combine all factors, right, for how athletic he is for 6'4", I would say so. Yeah. Because it's athletic and agile as well. That was where the thing where the reason why I thought he'd project best in center is, yeah, he's an athlete, but he's 6'4". Like, that's a guy that's usually going to have those gazelle strides, but they're not going to be the quickest laterally. He moves really well laterally. And that's what's so impressive to me is you can see a guy here that can stick it short and actually play a good short. So you have that element to it. And then you still have the gazelle strides in center that work as well. And then the biggest part has been the offensive game. And that's why we made that video of why he can be the number one prospect in baseball is hit tool was the concern. Hit tool was a concern. He makes those hit swing adjustments before he even debuts. And you've seen those just really shine through. You've seen the slug on secondaries and just ability to hit secondaries improve drastically. This dude has a 50% hard hit rate. He was 18 years old at the start of the season. He just turned 19. A 50% hard hit rate between low A and high A in his first pro season. He's making contact at an average clip. He's not chasing. And he's cut that strikeout rate below 22%. This guy has all of the makings to be a superstar. He really does. And it's funny, we were talking about cards. I was like, man, I might need to just buy a couple of his cards because
Probably already priced out.
beyond priced out.
Yeah.
He's already priced to a point where if he's not Corbin Carroll level player, it's you're probably not gonna you're not gonna have any ROI on that if you aren't gonna hold
Really?
on. It's crazy, but I get it. I get it because he has that physical aspect to his game that, and I don't want to compare him to these guys, but in terms of just guys that you see the speed, power, just I think tools and size and athleticism and strength just all shine through in a game setting in the minor leagues. It feels like the Bobby Witt situation. And it feels, again, I'm not saying he's going to be that good, but it is that kind of high school kid who is just stronger and faster than all the grown men that he's playing against and also hitting enough while doing it. It is that Bobby Witt type of reminder, but it's, again, I don't want to say he is like that and it's two different games, but it's that, holy crap, he's 19, but he's already more physically and imposing and athletic than these 22-year-old, 23-year-old guys.
Damn. Damn. Crazy.
I was
All right.
hoping you weren't gonna like say like, oh, Bobby Witt, like you're gonna throw that comp out. Not a comp. Not a
No,
comp.
it's not a comp. You made it clear that it wasn't a comp. It was just like the trajectory that like he could end up on because it's
Thank you.
quick mover, that kind of
I'm
thing.
so
It's not
scared. I'm
shades up.
so scared at saying any of those things nowadays.
No, I mean it's fine because like what Kevin O'Connor and the Ringer always did was shades of, right? Like shades of,
Shades.
I think is the way to do it instead
Yeah,
of like
because
here's the comp.
when's the last time we've seen a high school kid with this kind of physical impact, speed, and
Bobby Witt.
just yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it's okay to say the last time we saw this was Bobby Witt because at the end of the day, you can say the last time we saw an amateur pitcher as good as Paul Skeens was Steven Strasburg, and guess what? Like that's already true. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if there is precedent like this, and if you see shades of something, it's okay to shout that out.
Do you want to credit the Pirates for Skeens and Griffin, or is that an ass backwards
I
fell into
want
it?
to credit, yes, I do want to credit them for both of those. I think Connor Griffin, that was probably the floor in which he was going to fall to, was the Pirates. Although they did end up taking him before Rayner. So, like at the end of the day, Rayner's hurt, but they did take Griffin over Rayner. So I'll give them credit for that because Griffin does look like he's got superstar
Mhm.
potential right now. And I do want to credit them for Skeens because at the end of the day, Cruz was the easy pick. Langford was the pick at the time, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, Walker Jenkins could go here, and then out of nowhere it was the pitcher. So I will credit the
Hey,
Pirates
they
for
might
that.
be like they might be doing something there on the drafting and development side. Hunter Barco looks good. I mean, obviously Bubba Chandler looks like a good
Yeah,
pick. It's just
the tough one is Tomar right now,
yeah,
and Henry Davis, but
yeah,
you know,
yeah, that one too.
oh
Wide
well.
range, but it also helps when you're picking early a lot.
Wide range. Let's go to the Diamondbacks here. Gino Groover, he was Gino, but I think he wants to be called Lou James. Like everywhere I see Lou James Groover. So we're going to go with Lou James Groover instead of Gino Groover at this point. So Lou James Groover in 67 games, repeating double A right now. He did get to double A at the end of last year, but he was limited by injury, so he went to the fall league. He was good in the fall league, not great in the fall league. He's been really good this year, hitting
Hmm.
301, hitter friendly environment, I know, but an 848 OPS. Lou James Groover, he could play some third and some first in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. I look, it's not anything that's gonna jump off the page, but it's a really solid game across the board. We were talking about maybe wanted to see a little bit more impact. I still think you could hope for a bit more, but he is hitting the ball in the air more consistently, and that's allowed him, especially in hitter friendly environments, to slug a bit more. But you've got slightly above average contact rates. He's patient in the box, and I think he controls his ABs pretty well. He's not gonna strike out a ton, and he can play third base. So he has the makings to be, I think, that average regular, but maybe you can dream on a little bit more. And without a doubt, he's having a really nice season at Double A, and getting healthy. I think this year was a big part of that.
Live look, we're going to get at Jesus Mate. Any chance you get to see Jesus Mate play baseball in person, you're going to jump at the opportunity. And we get that opportunity. The Milwaukee Brewers only sent one guy to the Futures game, and he is the representative, Jesus Mate.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd send Luis Pena or something like that, but I know Pena's been a bit banged up, and you may just want to keep it simple. Um, I think MLB would not have allowed them to not send Jesus Mane.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hope he gets a right-handed at bat because he has been way better from that side of the plate this year, which is interesting. Um, but it's just for a guy that just turned 18 at low A to have an 802 OPS, to be walking at a 15% clip, to be posting plus exit velocities. He's still learning to get into the game power. The swing path is a little bit flat, but the bat speed is so dumb that he can go backside and almost like just flat swing, backside, backspin it to left field. And it's like, holy crap, that thing just kept going. Um, from the right side this year, 988 OPS. From the left side, 756. Just something interesting to follow and monitor. I'm not worried about that by any stretch. I just think he's got a little bit ahead in terms of the lower half control from the right side. Tends to happen with right hand dominant young switch hitters.
Sure.
But to do what he's doing, this is another guy that is in that wonderkin conversation, and that's why we've been talking about him for a while, even since he was at the DSL. This is one of the players that you're going to that game or turning that game on to watch.
100%, man. Somebody you were not probably turning the game on to watch, but someone you've liked for a while is Sal Stewart, 21-year-old prospect for the Cincinnati Reds. He's from Miami. Really good in double A again this year, man. And it's such a safe build for a hitter. 72 games, hitting 322 with an 876 OPS. He's got 9 homers. He's 13 for 15 in the stolen base department. He doesn't really walk, but he doesn't punch. He's boring, but man, does it work.
It works. And I mean, sign me up for this kind of boring every day of the week. I mean, it's really fun to watch him go about his business. He can do damage on all pitch types. The thing with him too is he hits the crap out of the ball. He just has never really turned that into a ton of game power because it's a lot of line drives to all fields. Now, 55% hard hit rate is ridiculous. It's going to be one of the higher marks that you got at the AA level. And the 90th percentile of 107 is plus plus, but 9 homers. Okay, why is it the case? Because he's just looking to find barrels and hit the ball. It's like the Yandy Diaz type of conversation where it's
Hmm.
okay, he's going to hit his homers, but he's just trying to drill baseballs hard to all fields. Now, the contact rate's not quite to that Yandy territory, so he may not be able to be as productive as consistently, but also then Sal can find a bit more loft as he gets more comfortable. The thing that gets me excited, and the reason why I hope he doesn't get moved, and I want the Reds to be very aggressive, trade everybody else, I don't care. Uh, that profile in Great American Ballpark, a lot of those doubles, they'll just sneak into the second row on a line at like 108. And I think he'll end up sneaking out a lot more home runs in that ballpark. And all of a sudden it's 15 to 20 homers, but it's a ton of doubles and a really high BABIP because he hits the ball so darn hard. He's just a great player. And also, Sneaky's still only 21 years
I
old.
know.
So this is a fun bat that definitely is overlooked in this whole group.
He's almost a year younger than J.J. Weatherholt, the St. Louis Cardinals, but he's the last in the infield crop that we're going to talk about. Weatherholt, it really hasn't been sneaky because he was a seventh overall pick last year, but
It
this
does
guy's
feel sneaky though, dude. I was talking about that with Elijah on the other episode. Like I don't think it's been given enough shine what he's doing right now.
dude. I mean, he's killing double A ball right now. As a 22-year-old, this is his first full season of pro ball. He was good in low A last year, bypasses Peoria entirely with Springfield. 58 games. He's hitting 303, getting on base at a 426 clip, and he's walking more than he's striking out. He's really not punching whatsoever. This dude, man, I mean, I know Bazana's dealt with a whole bunch of injury stuff, but you start to understand why you fell the way you did on Weatherholt versus Bazana last year.
It's just the floor is so high. And I do ultimately think he moves off of short, and I don't know how much it matters because the bat just looks so solid. Doesn't chase, controls his AB so well. And people talk about the power and how much he'll be in there. I think he'll get into more, and we're already starting to see him do that. It's not going to be top end exit velocities, but he hits the ball hard consistently. So I think he's going to be able to get into enough there. It's some of the best swing decisions you're going to find in the minor leagues. And it's the chances of him being a slightly above average regular are so high, but I think he can be obviously well above that as he learns to get into more power and continue to elevate more consistently. But when you look at the last 30 games, 933 OPS, 471 OBP, he's walking more than he struck out, as you mentioned, and he has 10 extra base hits in that span. That'll work. And it's a very fun game. And when he does get into one pull side, it's as satisfying to watch as just about any hitter. Like he'll surprise you and say, okay, there's that power. I still think he can hit 15 plus at the big league level.
Little man packs a punch, baby. All right, we are going to get to the outfielders to wrap, but before that, I do want to tell you about our friends at Ethos Life Insurance. I'm sure you remember a time where the thought of getting life insurance crossed your mind, right? Would your family be prepared financially if anything were to happen to you? You could also have a moment, maybe you just had a kid, right? When the baby arrives, you experience a sudden, like, I need to protect them for all it's worth, that made life insurance a priority. So, make sure you consult with our friends at Ethos. Life insurance is more affordable than you think. With Ethos, you can get a free quote and customize a rate that fits your budget. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies as low as $2 a day, billed monthly. And Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry. As of March of 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the number one no medical exam instant life insurance provider. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage. Ethos has a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot with over 2,400 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/justbaseball. That's ethos, ethos.com/justbaseball. National League Outfielders in the Futures Game, which is going to be on that Saturday of All-Star Weekend in Atlanta, the day before the draft. First guy we got to talk about is a Met, Carson Benj, who is in Double A. He is a Rumble pony as it stands right now. And Benj has long been a favorite of Mr. Aram. How's he faring so far this year?
He's been awesome. He's been awesome, and so far starting to settle in now into Double A. 4 hits in his last 3 games. He's walking a ton as well. He's starting to move quickly through the minor leagues, and definitely a guy that I wonder with the Mets probably being a bit more aggressive, especially now with some of the struggles. Is that a guy that you want to dangle? That's a guy that I'm holding on to pretty tightly because again, I couldn't believe that he fell to them where he did. And then you look at what he brings to the table. He looks like a guy that can stick up the middle or play a plus corner. And then you look at the offensive profile. He added a little bit more impact this year. The contact rates are above average. He controls his ABs well too. Walks plenty, and I think he's still just scraping the surface of what he can get into power wise. You're seeing him already start to pop 110 plus in the EV department, but you look at the build. He was a pitcher before. I think he's starting to add a little bit more strength. He's starting to find ways to get the ball in the air with authority more consistently. He was also playing in Brooklyn, where it can be a graveyard for hitters. But to see him be so productive without slugging a ton, right? His 4 home runs, and the slugging percentage is high. So I'd say without hitting homers, I think is encouraging. He's hitting a lot of doubles. He's got 5 triples. It's all fields, and then he can run. It's a really well-rounded profile and a very good player that is, I think, very much reaping the rewards of focusing on just hitting now. And I think that's just the beginning where we're going to see him just start to add a little bit more impact too.
Benj is ripping. So is Owen Casey. And we talk about Casey like he's stalling out in AAA, but then you look at the numbers and you remind yourself that he's not stalling out. He's just absurdly blocked at the moment. Owen Casey in 65 games with Iowa this year. As a 22-year-old, mind you, Owen Casey turns 23 in a week. Happy early birthday, Owen Casey. But in 65 games, he's hitting 263 with an 877 OPS. Last year, 127 games, he had 19 homers. He already has 12 homers this year in 65 games. He's too good for AAA. Unfortunately, the Cubs have PCA, Happ, Tucker, Seiya Suzuki. There's no space for him right now.
It feels very Kobe Mayo-ish, the situation here, and it is similar like strengths and weaknesses too. Um, it's funny because I think the Cubs, if Tucker does not come back, you look at the outfield and it's like, oh, we could use Owen Casey in the outfield. So I think they're in this weird tweener spot right now where like it would have made a lot of sense to move him maybe a year ago, but now you don't necessarily know what exactly to do because he's playing really well. He looks like a guy that can absolutely be your starting outfield for you next year if you have an open spot. It's one of your starting outfielders, and he just keeps getting better. The last 30 games, he's a 939 OPS. That strikeout rate is dipped below 30%. And I know people talk about the strikeout rate. I think that's definitely something to monitor and be a little bit worried about. But I keep looking back at the contact rates, and I'm like, the strikeout rate shouldn't be that high. So I think with a little bit more development of the approach, I think having more resources available at the big league level, he is a guy that actually could end up cutting down that strikeout rate at the big league level. It doesn't happen very often. It's actually quite rare, but he is a candidate where I think that could be the case. And it could benefit him to have all of that information and preparation available at the big league level because it seems like approach is he's not like he's overly aggressive, but just not picking his spots and not really, I think, setting himself up for success sometimes against certain arms. But I mean, he has been really, really good. And this is a guy that also has a chance to hit the ball as hard as anybody in the futures game. He's already popped TVs around 118.
Do the Cubs trade him in the next month? Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I think,
Because you feel like they have the confidence to bring Tucker back long term.
yeah. And I think if you're making a move here, you got to show that you're all in on this year. And I think holding on to Casey does not imply that whatsoever. And all that we've heard is, hey, they're all in on this year. That's why you went out and got Tucker. And that's why they have to now do it because they went out and got Tucker. So I
Yes.
think they do it ultimately, especially with him playing well right now.
Yeah. Next guy, another guy that you're high on, an Arizona Diamondback, Slade Caldwell is going to the Futures Game. Caldwell packs a punch. You've compared the build to Jet Williams before. How is Slade faring right now? I haven't checked in on him in a minute.
Yeah, he's towing the line of the passiveness thing, right? Where he's
Okay.
swinging at a 30% clip. So getting into so many deep counts has caused him to strike out way more than he should. He's striking out at a 28% clip, but his hit tool is way better than that. The contact rate overall is 77%, and that's gotten better as the season's progressed, his last 30 games, it's 81%. I'm just excited to see this guy run. He absolutely flies. He has the potential to be a really good outfielder, both in center field or in left. Even though it's choppier steps, he still covers so much ground. And then he does pack a punch, for a 5'6" frame. So being able to see him spray the ball to all fields with some authority and watch him really motor. It's an 831 OPS so far this year, though, and I think for a guy that's already in high A as a high school bat, I think is pretty encouraging overall to see him handling things the way that he has and be pushed aggressively. And I mean, through his first 30 games at low A, he was pushing near 1,000 OPS. So he's adjusting to high A still, but he just turned 19. So I think it says a lot about his skill set and his polish.
Yeah. Two Dodgers. Do you want to combine them or go one by one with DePaula and Zaire Hope?
I feel like those guys are going to get combined for the rest of their careers unless one of them gets traded.
Probably. Josue DePaula and Zaire Hope have been two of the biggest slam dunks in minor league baseball to this point, and they're sharing the same damn outfield. Shout out Loons fans, man. Midland,
Yeah.
Michigan, stand up.
Loons baseball must be a blast right now. No doubt about it. Still waiting to see DePaula fully get into that game power more, but he is a bit more this year. Such a good feel for the zone, such a silky smooth swing from the left side, and when he does get into it, it's beautiful to watch. Another guy that can go backside with authority, and he has really improved his ability to get the ball in the air this year. So I think that part has been encouraging. Just turned 20 years old. This is just one of my favorite swings to watch in the minor league. So from that perspective, it's really fun. And then I think maybe the only swing that gets me more excited outside of Kevin McGonigal's and DePaula's is probably Zaire Hope. And when Hope connects with one, it's different, I think, than just about anybody that we're going to talk about on the National League side here. It's some of the best exit velocities in the minor leagues. It's a 90th percentile of 110 miles per hour. That would put him among some of the best major league hitters. He's still managing the swing and miss, but I think he has managed it well enough for a 20-year-old in high A who missed most of last season. And of course, is going to be a power over hit guy. 25% K rate, but he's launched 7 home runs, 20 doubles this year, and a pair of triples. He's getting on base at a 400 clip. And I mean, he has home runs this year off of Chase Burns, off of Gage Jump. Like a lot of the top prospects he has hit no doubters off of. And I mean, I watched him hit at 470 in the Arizona Fall League. I've watched him hit balls well north of 110. He is electrifying, and I think it is some of the best bat speed. It might be the best bat speed of any prospect in the minor leagues.
Do you think so?
I think so. I don't have those exact measurements, but if I had to guess, I think of non-debuted prospects, I would bet a lot of money he's in the top 5.
Who else jumps out to you?
Bat speed wise,
Yeah.
non-debuted. It's tough because like the bigger guys, it's not going to maybe register as high. They create that whip and it's more physical EVs. I'm trying to think in terms of who stands out purely bat speed wise.
You mentioned a Briseño has just stupid juice. Briseño, would he be moving the bat that quick, or is he just?
That's interesting. I still think he would. I think he would be up there. I think Briseño would be up there. I'm trying to think of like who would compare to a Zaire Hope, and it seems like it's a short like. DeVries bat speed's not necessary. I would say Jesus Mate. Jesus Mate's probably got to be up there as well. Basayo would definitely be up there. But I think you start to look beyond that. I don't think there's a lot of guys that are pushing what Zaire Hope has going on. I think Luis Pena could be in that conversation too. But yeah, I think there's a very good chance he has some of the best bat speed in the minor leagues.
Very cool. All right. Last but not least, Esmerlin Valdez of the Pittsburgh Pirates is going. Might actually be a last and least situation here, but Esmerlin Valdez, he's put together a decent season, man. And the Pirates are very happy with what this guy has going on. If I'm not mistaken, the game on him is juice, right?
Juice. Dude, he's having a great season. I mean,
20 home. All right, never mind. I take that back. Hitting 300 with 20 homers already and a 969 OPS.
It's pretty anonymous though. Like, I've seen Pirates fans talking about it. I've seen people getting excited about it, but he's not getting the shine. He just got promoted to Double A.
I don't know ball, man. I'm sorry.
Dude, I mean, it's big time EVs and it's air pull. I mean, he is hitting the ball really hard in the air to the pull side. That's how you get 20 homers in 73 games. He's going to whiff. He's going to get beat at the top sometimes, but he's kept it in check enough at a 24% clip. 90th percentile exit velocity of 108 miles per hour. For reference, major league average is like 103.5. So he is hitting the crap out of the ball. A guy that has 20 homers and 18 doubles, like that is a good reminder of somebody that is just air pulling really, really hard. And it's going to result in maybe some challenges against spin sometimes, but it's also going to ensure that he's going to hit a lot of homers. And this is another player that it's big, big, big time game power.
How about that, man? All right, that's our NL Futures Game roster.
That is going to be fun watching these two teams go at it. And it always seems to skew towards the arms because, of course, like it's really hard to hit off these guys in one inning spurts. But I think there's a lot of really well disciplined hitters in this game, so I think
Mhm.
it's going to make it a little bit more offensive driven. And then you've got the power guys that can, I think cash in some big swings when we get a chance to see those. We will be doing a mock draft later this week as well. So excited to do that with the On the Clock guys. We'll be breaking down their latest mock draft that you can be looking at. You can check out at justbaseball.com. Reminder to check out the links below. If you could leave a rating, help us grow the show, that would be awesome. And join our Discord. It's been really fun talking ball and talking draft in there as that's gotten closer and all the other fun things that we have going on in there. As always, thank you for listening. Look forward to talking prospects with you later this week.